Joining me on the line, as always, is Jono from Geelong. Jono, last weekend was round 17. And can we start with the game between your Cats and the Brisbane Lions?
Yes, good to talk to you once again. Do we really have to start with that one? But I suppose
22-point margin?
we didn't start as a Geelong supporter. The Lions came right out of the blocks, kicked the first 8 goals of the game, and it was almost over by that stage. But the Cats fought back in the second quarter. I think the margin was around about 11 points at half time, but they burnt way too many tickets just to get back in the game. They didn't start well, and the Lions were far too good. And there's no reason why they can't be winning 3 on the trot here, Cam.
Well, the Cats have now slipped into that wildcard round territory, and this was a home game as well. So I think I tipped the Cats from memory.
Yeah, I think you did. And, well, we've got to remember the Lions came down here last year and did the same thing to us, but they beat us by about 12 goals, and that was Paddy Dangerfield's 350th game and the first whiteout game that Geelong hosted last year. But they've been 1-for-1, the Cats and the Lions, over the last 12 months and thereabouts. They win one, we win one, they win one, we win one, but the Lions tend to win the one that counts, and that's grand final day.
So it sounds like the cold weather didn't stop the Lions from performing. Let's move on to the Swans v Bulldogs. Swans, they picked up a 35-point win over the Dogs.
Yeah, the Swans, they came out, they looked pretty good, the Swannies. The Dogs did not give a yelp. They sort of fought back towards the end there at various stages and kept themselves somewhere around the mark, but the Swans were far too classy at the SCG, and the poor old Doggies, when they miss their top liners, they just can't compete.
West Coast, they went down, but they've got to be happy with their performance against the Crows.
I think they've got to be happy with their year thus far, Cam. They've been competitive in a lot of games. They've won a couple as well, a couple more than they did last year. So, yeah, they're on the right track, the Eagles, and they're probably still another couple of years away from really being thereabouts, but it's good signs. They've got some good kids.
Yeah, 4 wins now for the season for the Eagles, and Melbourne 125 defeating the Hawthorn Hawks 90.
This was phenomenal. The D's absolutely blasted out of the box against the Hawkers. I think at one stage I saw the scores something along the lines of 85-8. The Hawks fought back. I think they kicked 12, 13 or 14 goals in the third quarter, which was, the D's will go away and have a bit of a look at that and how that happened. But, yeah, down in Tassie too, everyone picked Hawthorn. I didn't see anyone that picked the D's to get over the line down in Tassie, but they went down there and they did it well.
Yeah, that's interesting because the Demons, they're now sitting 6th on the ladder, and the Hawks, they're 3rd. So it was a top echelon battle, but yeah, well done to the Demons. What happened in Canberra? The Fremantle Dockers, top of the table, went down to the inconsistent GWS. Did GWS just find form just for this game?
Well, I think, Cam, we just saw a glimpse of what the Giants are capable of. And I think I've been saying all year that they've been depleted by injuries at various stages. And at some point, they've got to click and they'll get a few players back, and their second half of the year should be strong. But they've sort of had players go in and out all year, and they'll lose Lockie Whitfield again with concussion next week. But I think we're just seeing what they should have been dishing up all year. And I think it's probably the loss the Dockers needed to have. They'd won 14 on the trot or something ridiculous along those lines, but they can't win them all, and it's probably good they've had a loss for their point of view.
And Gold Coast Suns went down to the Magpies by 6 points. My screen is just showing red L, red L, red L, like just red L across the screen for the Gold Coast Suns.
And that is
The slide continues to 14th now.
and I think that's been since Darwin, Cam, hasn't it? They haven't left Darwin. There's a bit of spite in this one too, with Longy from the Suns bowling over Braden Maynard on the halftime siren and cracking a couple of ribs for Maynard, which he's probably owed a few because he's dished a few out to some opposition players over the journey. So it was, from a non-Collingwood supporter, Cam, it was nice to see that happen to Maynard. But yeah, the Pies were just a bit too strong in the end for the Suns, and yeah, it's troubling times there at Gold Coast.
Explain me what a non-Collingwood supporter is. Does that mean like you're not just neutral, you're anti?
Pretty much. And
Yep,
I think
makes sense.
And I think pretty much more the fact that it was Braden Maynard too. He likes to dish him out, old Maynard, so it was good to see him get one back the other way.
You would describe them as the Manly of the AFL?
No, I won't, but I would describe him as not the strongest, tough man you've ever seen.
Okay, now, would you describe Collingwood as the
Oh,
Manly Warringah Seagulls of the AFL, the team that people just love to hate?
yes, 100%, Cam. Sorry, I missed that. Yes, 100%.
And the Blues picked up another win. It wasn't by much, 2 points over the lowly Richmond Tigers, but the Blues, where the Suns are showing a lot of red on the screen, the Blues are just green W's all the way along.
Yeah, phenomenal. And we say it every week. They haven't lost a game since poor old Michael Voss was shown the door. And yes, good luck to them. Well done, the Blues. But they made hard work of it against the Tigers. And credit to the Tigers, they actually put up a fairly decent fight. Again, some controversial umpiring decisions, Cam, which we're now seeing, unfortunately, in every game of footy, just about every weekend. And there almost needs to be some sort of inquiry into the arc, the goal investigation, video cameras, and also the field umpiring. It seems to be just general discussion for the whole week leading into the next round of footy.
It's a big call that there needs to be an investigation. St Kilda, what are they now? 12th on the ladder. They took on the 18th place Bombers and they more than doubled the Bombers' score.
Yeah, the Bombers are struggling, Cam. They'll be just waiting for this year to finish and start again next year. Obviously, they'll have a new coach, whether it's James Hird or whoever they put in the helm there. Whoever comes in is not going to flick the switch overnight and turn it around. But yeah, they're struggling, the Bombers. And well done to the Saints. They still had to get it done. They went out there and did it.
And I thought the Kangaroos would have got the job done against Port Adelaide, but it was actually Port Adelaide who came up trumps at home.
Yeah, and good on Port Adelaide because they have been around the mark for most of the year, and I think they've lost 5 or 6 games by under a kick. So they have been thereabouts. So it was nice to see them get a win and a win that, well, they had to fight for it. North were thereabouts even with, halfway through the last quarter. So it could have gone either way, but Port too strong in the end.
Now, this is a question that I haven't preempted with you, so you may not have an answer this week. It might be next week.
Right.
But what number of points do you think will be the bottom of the 10 for the ladder when it comes finals time? Because at the moment, the Blues and the Kangaroos, they split 10 and 11. They're on 32 points. What do teams need to get to?
Well, historically for the 8, when it was top 8, they used to work on 12 or 13 wins to get you into the 8. So you would think it'd be around the 11-12 mark for 9.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at the Pies now, what have they had? They've had 8 wins, so another 3 wins to sneak in. So I reckon that should be around about the mark. You'd want to be 11 or 12. But then again, when we've got Richmond and Essendon and West Coast, sides that aren't winning games, that might even lift the number by 1. So we might be saying, 12, 13 wins for, 9 and 10, 13, 14 wins for 7 and 8. But yeah, it's starting to look a little bit of a logjam there, Cam, isn't it? From 4th.
It certainly is.
No, you look at Geelong at 7th, like that's the best team we've probably seen sitting at 7th place on the ladder. So the Cats probably need to pull their finger out, win a few more games here.
Let's turn our attention now to round 18. Thursday night, Dockers and Swans.
This will be huge. Top of the
1v2.
First versus second over in Perth. Freo looking to bounce back after their loss to the Giants last week. And the Swannies, they're just humming along. So this will be a must-watch game on Thursday night, Cam.
Certainly will. Friday, Collingwood and the Kangaroos go head-to-head.
Yeah, the Pies, you would think would be too strong. George Wardlaw, a young gun from North, he'll miss with a hamstring injury, so that's a bad loss for North. And the Pies, they're just rolling along nicely here the last few weeks, so I think they should be too strong for the Kangas.
All right, let's just loop back to Dockers and Swans. We didn't put our tips in. I'm going to tip the Dockers over in the West.
And I'm going to tip the Swans in an upset. Who would have thought to be saying a Swans in an upset, but I'm going to tip the Swans.
Very good. And Collingwood Kangaroos?
Yeah, Pies for me, Cam.
I'm going the upset in that one with the Kangaroos. Saturday, first game, St Kilda, Port Adelaide.
Under the roof at the Dome, Cam, I think the Saints should be too strong, but we've seen stranger things happen, and we know that Port are going to be around the mark because they've shown that in the majority of their games this year. But I think I'm just going to have to tip the Saints purely on home ground advantage, and that is it.
Yeah, I'll go the Saints. Although Port had that win last week, I'll stick with the Saints. Tell me about GWS GWS v the Cats. Can the Giants pull it out 2 weeks in a row?
They certainly can, and obviously buoyed by the 7-goal haul from veteran Jade Stringer last week against the Dockers. But unfortunately for the Giants, they will miss playmaker and their key defender, Lockie Whitfield, who suffered a concussion last week, so he will miss the game. The Cats, it's a must-win for them to hang around that mark, looking, if they're a chance to make the top four, they must win this game. The Giants can definitely win, but I think I'm going to have to stick with my Cats, Cam.
Something tells me I want to tip the Giants in this one, but I'll go with the Giants. I'll go with the upset. I've tipped the Cats a lot this year.
And they've let you down? And
no, they've been good. They've been really good.
Well, they've let me down. And if Lockie Whitfield was playing this game, I would tip the Giants.
All right, let's go now to the Blues and the Hawks.
Yeah, this would be, well, you'd think on paper that the Hawks should get this done, but you can only go on form. The Blues have won 7 on the trot. The Hawks have come back from an absolute debacle of a weekend last weekend down in Tassie, but they should bounce back. Whether the wizard Watson comes back into the side, time will tell later in the week. Blues will give them a bit of a shake-up, but I think the Hawks should prevail in the end.
So this could be the game that ends the Blues run?
I think it will be. They can't keep winning. They can't keep this stretch running. And Hawthorn, they're sitting third on the ladder for a reason, the Hawks. They're a good side and they should be too polished and get this one done.
Yeah, I'm going to tip the Hawks in that one. Sorry, Blues. Crows and Suns, 5v14.
Well, as you know, Cam, if we think back to the start of the year, I did tip the Crows to win the flag, and they're currently sitting in 5th, and they've been a little bit inconsistent, dropping that game against Port the week before. But I think they should be too strong with the Suns. But the Suns, at some point, they got to draw the line in the sand and say, we must win a game of footy. So it could also be this weekend. But I think purely for the home ground advantage at the Adelaide Oval, the Crows win for me.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough ask for the Suns, but I don't tip against my team, so I will be tipping the Suns. Dogs and Eagles?
Dogs should be too strong for Eagles, Cam. They need to bounce back after their loss to the Swannies last week if they're going to partake in any of the finals this year, the Dogs.
Fair enough. I'll back the Dogs there. D's and the Tigers?
These are red hot, and they should account for Richmond comfortably.
108 up against $8. Yeah, we'll back the D's there. And the Lions, 4th place Lions up against the 18th Bombers, 102 to $15.
Yeah,
you don't much else to be said.
You don't see a $15 winner in a 2-horse race too often, do you? So the Lions win by the length of the Flemington Straight, if we're talking horse racing, Cam.
3,200 metres.
Correct. That's the Melbourne Cup Day.
All right. Anything else to mention?
The AFL dishing out $45,000 worth of fines for melees over the last weekend, Cam. So that's a nice few little dollars in the coffer of the AFL once again.
It's such an AFL word, melee, isn't it?
Yeah. Once upon a time, if we're talking NRL, it's just a proper dust-up, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly is. That's long gone in the past now, which is, good for the football that it's out of the game. Anyway, Jono, it's been good to talk. Let's chat again next week and, yeah, go those Suns.
Go the Cats. Thanks, Cam.